Daf Lamed Zayin Amud Aleph, 9 lines from the top of the 2 dots. V'hein oinim achrav. We learned in the Mishnah when people heard the Shem Hashem, the Kohen Gadol, he said the Vidoi, he said On Hashem, they heard the Shem Hashem, they said Baruch Shem Kavod Malchusai Li'olam Voed. Tanya, we learned in the Brisa taught, Rabbi Yomi says Ki Shem Hashem Mekro Hava Gadol Elokeinu. The pasuk says when Ki Shem Hashem Mekro, when I call it the name of the Shem, give great to Hashem. Meaning, Omer lehem Moshe Yisrael b'shal shani masker shmoi shel Kodesh Baruch Hu. When I mention the name of Hashem, atem havu gadol, you give greatness. Meaning, and therefore you respond with a bracha, Baruch Shem kavod malchusai lo'olam voed. Chanani ben Achi Rav Yeshua Omer, he says a different pasuk. It says Zecher Tzadik Livrocha. The mention of a tzaddik then is a blessing, is a bracha. Amar lehem Noveli Yisrael, he said, B'shal shani masker tzaddik oilomim. I mentioned the tzaddik oilomim, the tzaddik of all the world, meaning Rabbeinu Shalom, atem tnu bracha. You give a bracha, and so that's the source of Baruch Shem Kavod Malchusa La'olam Voed. So like the Mishnah Bala, the Mizrach Hazar, the Kohen Gadol goes to the east part of the Azara. So he's now goes to the east of the Azara. The Heichal, the Ulam and the Heichal was to the west. The east is when he's coming from the Shan Nikoner. He's coming from the Shan Nikoner. He's coming from east to west. So he is now doing this avoid over here of the Gairolas. He's making the Gairol, choosing the Gairol, which will be the Asar Lashem, which will be the Asar Lazazel. He has to be in the Azara. He has to be in the Zorah because it says Lifnei Hashem Pesach Moed. However, he does not have to be between the Ulam and Mizbeach. He goes furthest to the east. He goes to the east, just beyond the Shar and the corner. So Bolo Mizcha Zorah Litzvain HaMizbeach. So now this has to be in the Tzofin. So he goes to the Tzofan of the Mizbeach. So this mashmos is that the Mizbeach itself is not in the north part of the Zohar, not like we said previously. The mashmos from this mission is that the Mizbeach itself is not in the north, so he has to go to the north of the Mizbeach in order to be on the north side. In order to be in the north, he has to go to the north of the Mizbeach. And what does he do over there? He goes to the north of the Mizbeach. Haskan b'yaminai, the skan is the skan Kohen Gadol, the one who is the assistant Kohen Gadol, so to speak, the prime minister, the assistant Kohen Gadol. The skan is b'yaminai. The Rosh Beisav mismolan, and the Rosh Beisav, the Ish Mishmar was divided into Batei Avos. The head of the Beisav was to his left. Ushnei Seirim, and they had the 2 goats over there, Vakalpi Hayisham, and there was a box over their chest, Uva Shnei Gairolas, and there was 2 Gairolas in them. The 2 Gairolas are 2 lots, Shel Ashkoras Hayu, and they were made out of boxwood. Valsan Ben Gamla Shel Zav, and Ben Gamla made out of gold, Vayim Skir Noisel Shvach, and they were Maskrim to Mishvat. So they did over here the choosing of the Gairol, which would be the Gairol Hashem, and which would be the Gairol Allah Azazel. The avodah of the Surah Hashem was done with Sofan, was Kosher Kadoshim was done with Sofan. The Gairol, the choosing of the Gairol, was also done in the Sofan. Now, the Rishonim says this was only a din d'Rabbanan, a requirement of the Rabbanan, to have it in the north. So now we mentioned that Maskirin Loitz Shvach, he was mentioned, it's praised because he Ben Gamla made them out of gold. So we now mention other people that were mentioned, were praised for making contributions. Ben Kotten also Shnei Maser Dad L'Kiyar. The Kiyar, which the Kohen used to wash their hands and feet, it initially had 2 spouts, but Ben Kotten made 12. Shaloi Hayaloi Ela Shnaim originally only had 2. And now this way he made 12 spouts so that they were able to have 12 Kohanim wash simultaneously, and therefore they were able to do it more efficiently, to do the Avodah. Vav who also muchne l'kiyar, he also made a muchne, a device for the kiyar, muchne from a lashon of machine. He made a certain mechanism that they could lower the waters of the kiyar. Shelo yu meimav nusan belina, so the water should not be possible lina overnight. Meaning, the kiyar had a din of a kli shoras. if the waters now, where the waters were in the Kir, had Kedusha Saguf. If they were left over overnight to the next day, then it would be possible Lina. So as not to have to empty out the waters and replenish it with new waters, which would be not covered for the waters that were Kodesh, he was able to lower it down, lower it below, so it became connected to the Mei Mayan, to the spring water, and therefore it would not be possible Belina. So they also was mentioned for praise. He made all the handles of the kalim that were used for Yom Kippur out of gold. His mother also nivreshes shel zav. She made a golden nivreshes, a candelabra. She made a gold or a chandelier. She made it out of gold Pesach Heichal and the opening of the Heichal. She made it on the Pesach of the Heichal. And that way people would know when the sun is shining that they know that it was time to say Krishma. Vav, he also saw Tavla Shel Zahav. She also made a golden tablet. And Parsha Soita Ksuva Aleha, that the Parsha Soita was written on it, so that then when they had to write the Parsha Soita, when they had a case of Soita and they had to write the Parsha on the cloth, then they would not have to bring a Sefer Torah inside, which would not be so b'kovadik. They copied it from the tablet. Miracles occurred to the doors that he donated, and they mention with praise. The Gemara will give details of these nisim that happened, and this is, of course, we have the main entrance into the Azora, the Shar Nikoner. So the Gemara will go into detail with all of these cases over here. It says that it was done north of the Mizbeach. So Michlal the Mizbeach Lav Koin. So that implies that the Mizbeach itself was not in the Tzafon. The Mizbeach itself was not in Tzafon. He had to go, in order to be on the north part of the Azara, he had to go north of the Mizbeach. So Mani Rabbi Elazar ben Yaakov. That must be the Shita of Rabbi Elazar ben Yaakov, who holds that the Mizbeach was not in the north. The Sanya says in the Pasuk, Safoina lifnei Hashem. It says, Safoina lifnei Hashem, Sofan Kulaponoi, that there should be, that Mizbeach itself should not be in the Sofan, is not in the Sofan. The whole north part of that, it should be clear of the Mizbeach. The Pasuk says, Safoina. It doesn't say Sofan, it says to Safoina, which means to the north. Means that it's the shechted on the Yarech HaMizbeach. Safaina, you shechted it on the foot of the Mizbeach to the north, meaning the Mizbeach itself is not in the north. You're going past that, north of the Mizbeach. Divrei Rabbi Elazar ben Yaakov. So therefore, apparently, the time of our mission is Rabbi Elazar ben Yaakov. Frag the Gemara, what do you mean? Reisha Rabbi Elazar bar Shimoni. We learned in the previous Mishnah that, or in the beginning of the Reisha of the Mishnah rather, that the Tana is Rav Shimon ben Elazar. That he holds that Ben Ulam Mizbeach, that the par was Ben Ulam Mizbeach, it was the vidu is done with the par at the place of the shlit of Ben Ulam Mizbeach. So therefore, the north part of the Mizbeach was in the north part of the Azor. He did it between the Ulam and the Mizbeach. That means that the north part of the Mizbeach is in the north part of the Azor. Gemara answers, Kulu Rabbi Elazar Rav Yaakov. No, the Tana in the both cases, Reish and Sevis, Rabbi Elazar ben Yaakov. The Tana bebein ha'ulam mizbeach. It's not between the ulam and the mizbeach. It's not between the ulam and mizbeach itself. It's in the area that would be between. It would mean in the area west of the mizbeach, in the area that is west of the mizbeach, and the area itself that is bein ulam lamizbeach, but not in the side of the mizbeach. Meaning, what the point that we want to make over here is that it's not, as the way the Ritva explains it, that it's not mamish going like a Rabbi Elazar ben Shen. It's not mamish like Rabbi Elazar ben Shen. It's only insofar as Rabbi Elazar ben Shimon says that it does not have to be, it doesn't have to be on the north side of the mizbeach, between the Mizbeach and the north wall of the Azora. It could even be west of the Mizbeach. It could even be west of the Mizbeach towards the Ulam. That's what it means to say. It means to say that it can be not only on the north side of the Mizbech, it can be west of the Mizbech in the area between Ul Mizbech, but not on the west side of the Mizbech itself, because the Mizbech itself was not in the north. It means in the area that was the Mizbech. It doesn't have to be just on the north side of the Mizbech. It could be west of the Mizbech. It could be on the west, but not on the west side of the Mizbech, on the area further north between the Ulam and the Mizbech. In this area over here, west of the Mizbech, but not between the Mizbech and the Ulam. So it's not completely that sheet, but it's so far as to say that it does not have to be on the north side of the Mizbeach. That's what we mean to say. So, but really, we're going on the sheet over here that the Mizbech itself was not in the north. Haskan b'yamin v'rosh beisav b'smol. So it says that the skan was to his right and the rosh beisav was to his left. Rav Yehuda hamahalach l'yamin rabbi. If a person walks and he's walking and he's onto the right side of his Rebbe, harei zabur. He's a bore, he's an unlearned person. We learned in our Mishnah, Skan b'yamin v'rosh beisav b'smol. What do you mean? It says that the skan was b'yamin, rosh beisav was small. And we learned as well, there were three people were walking, Harav be'emsa, the Rebbe is in the middle, Godel b'yamina, of the Talmidim, the bigger one, the greater one is b'yamina v'kota and v'smola. V'chein matzinu b'shleisha malachi ashor shabo etzel Avram, Michal be'emsa, Michal was the middle, Gavril b'yamina v'rafal v'smola. So you see that they do walk to the side of the Rebbe. More answers, Tagam Rav Shmuel bar Papa, coming to Ravada, Kadesh Yiskasa boy Rapa. What it means is he walks behind the Rebbe so that he will cover it, that he'll cover his back. That his back is covered by him, but he doesn't walk to the side of him. He walks to the back of his Rebbe. That's what it means. In fact, the Gemara, how can you say that? Tanya Mahala Keneged Rabbi, if a person walks next to his Rebbe, raise a boor. But Rabbi walks behind his Rebbe, raise a Megase Ruach. It's Megase Ruach. So how can you say that? Gemara answers the mitzvah it's duty. What it means is he doesn't walk next to his Rebbe. He doesn't walk in the back of his Rebbe. He walks somewhat to the side. He doesn't walk next to him. He walks somewhat to the side of him, not directly behind him, nor at his side, but he walks in a diagonal behind his Rebbe. That's what it means. The Taisus Rishonim asks that we learned in the Gemara in Brachas that ein mechabdin b'drachim, that we don't give kavod on the drachim. When there's traveling, there's no kavod that's given. So we see over here, however, that we are mechabed the Rabbin to walk in a certain procession. He answers that we say ein mechabed b'drachim, that is if they encounter each other on the derech. If one encounters each other on the derech, you don't have to let the other one go first. You're not mechabed him to walk in front of you. However, when they're starting off on a journey, they are mechabed. So the Mishnah continues the kalpei. It says Shamavashne Gairolas. There was a box, a chest, and had two Gairolas in it, two lots in it. Ton Rabbanon B'Nasan Aaron Al Shnei Haseirim Gairolos. It says that he puts on the two serim, on the two goats, on the two male goats, Gairolas. Gairola shall call dollar. It says Gairolas means it can be made out of any material. It's Gairolas that can be made out of any material. So in the Gemara, why would I would think otherwise? Now it says Gairolas in plural. So you might think that he puts two on each goat, meaning that there is two Gairolas he writes two of them of Hashem. The one that's for Hashem, it's written with two Gairolas, and one Lazazel is two. Tam Loimra Gairol Echad Lashem, Gairol Echad Lazazel, only one. Ein kan l'shem ela gorel echad ve'en kan la'azazel ela echad. There's only one on each. So yachal yitain shel shem v'shel azazel also. Well, you might think there's only one shel shem, one shel azazel, but there's on each one there's one of shel shem and one shel azazel, and v'shel shem v'shel azazel also, and also on the other one has both the shem and the shel azazel on each one. Now, the obvious question is, well, if he has on each one Shem Shel Azazel, then which is the Shem, which is Shel Azazel? Rashi says, and it will be based on the determination of the Kayan. Talmud Loimar Garal Echad Lashem Ein Kan Lashem Elechad Ein Kan Lazazel Elechad. It's only one. So Im Kain Ma Talmud Loimar Garal Lois. So why does it say in the plural Garal Lois if there's only one? Sheyu Shalom, to teach you that they should be equal, they should be identical. Shelo Yaseh Echad Shel Zav Echad Shel Kesef Echad Gadol V'Echad Katan. The Garal Lois have to be identical. The serum have to be identical. The garals have to be identical. One can't be out of gold, one is silver. One can't be big, one can't be small. So the Brisa said, "Gairala shall called over." We learn out gairalas can be made out of any material. In fact, the Gemara Pshita, of course. Why would I think otherwise? The Gemara says, "Lo tzricha lekadasaya," because of what we taught in the Brisa. Lafish amatzina b'tzitz shashem kosuvalo. The Shem Hashem is written on the tzitz that the Kohen Gadol wears on his forehead. V'hu shel zav, and it's made out of gold. So yachal avzeh, you might think this also, it has the Shem Hashem written on it. You might think also it should be made out of gold. Talmud loimer garal. That's why it says garal. It says garal. It's said twice the word garal in the pasuk to teach you. Garal teaches a riba or marba, any type of garal. Riba shel zayis, whether it's made out of olive wood, riba shel egois, or made out of nut wood, or riba shel ashkaraya, or boxwood. Then it says, Ben Kotin, also Shnei Masar Dad L'Kir, he made 12 spouts for the Kir. Talna, Kadesh Yu, Shnei Masar, Echav HaKayhanim, Asukim B'Tovid, Mekachim Yedeim, Ragleim V'Vas Havas. Then he did it in order so that the 12 Kahanim that are Isaac and the Tomid, that they can wash themselves, wash their hands and feet simultaneously, so it would not delay the Avodah, and therefore make it more efficient. They can do it simultaneously. That's why he made it. Tana, we learned in the Brisa. So now this Brisa is referring to before Ben Kotin. It's before there was Ben Kotin. It only had 2 spouts, and one was at the top and one was towards the bottom. So at that time, so we said Shachritz b'miluah. In the morning, the water was full of the kir was full. So Mekarashad v'raglim and Elyon. So he washed his hand from the upper spout. Arvez b'redos. In the evening, the water level decreased. After they used the water during the whole day, the water level was lower down. Then Mekarashad v'raglim and Atachlan, he would wash his hands and feet from the lower spout.